Hello, my name is Benjamin Hettler, and I'm a public and general history major with a minor in ancient studies. During the 2022 spring semester, I was a history intern for the Applied Anthropology Laboratories, or the AAL, at Ball State. I worked on their Goldsmith Cabin site project. Why this internship? I was interested in this internship with the AAL because it would help me develop some of the skills needed for a career in the public history field. It gives a hands-on experience for multiple subfields in public history such as anthropology, historic preservation, public interpretation, education, and digital history. It would also be an immersive on-the-job learning opportunity in a public history field that closely aligns with my career ambitions. It also would let me see where artifacts come from and appreciate them more than before, as well as see what people in other parts of the public history field do. Funding information. This project is made possible by a collaboration grant from the Indiana Humanities Council in cooperation with the National Endowment for Humanities, along with in-kind contributions from collaborators and donations from the public on One Ball State Day 2021 to develop public programming and educational resources at the intersection of STEM, arts, and humanities in partnership with the Delaware Tribe, the Miami Tribe, American Legion Post Number 19, the Delaware County Historical Society, Cornerstone Center for the Arts, and Ball State's Office of Faculty Excellence. My typical day. The first thing I do every day is my COVID-19 wellness screening per the AAL COVID protocols. I then come into the lab and sit down at my workstation and check my email for my daily tasks, as well as I send any emails that I may need to for collaboration purposes and permission to look at any collections. Some of my everyday tasks can be broken up into 3 types of days: online research, in-person research, document tracking, creation/writing. For my in-person research days, it is included scanning and reading through historical documents, books, going to the BSU archives and special collections, and then organizing these documents in an Excel sheet by what the document is, where we got it from, and a description of it. This last part is also some of what I do during my document tracking days. For my online research days, I look at historical documents through newspaper.com, the Muncie Public Library's digital repository, the Delaware Historical Society's collections, and even digital articles from the Muncie Star Press. For my document tracking and creation writing days, as I stated before, organize these documents in an Excel sheet, put historical documents in our shared OneDrive for staff to use on the project, and work on any task that may help us with our public outreach and products that we will use to convey the project to the public. Primary and secondary sources. One of the most important aspects of the internship was working with primary and secondary sources. On the left is a sale of land documentation between Samuel Cassman, a Delaware Indian, and Goldsmith Gilbert, the founder of Muncie. On the right is a page from the book History of Delaware County, Indiana, written in 1924 by Frank D. Hambaugh, discussing the Hettler Reserve. Understanding the difference between and the use of the two is vital when working with historical documents on a daily basis. Primary sources are items such as an artifact, documents, diary/journals, manuscripts, photographs, or any other source of information that was created at the time under investigation or study. Secondary sources are works like books, journal articles, newspaper articles, speeches, reviews, and research reports that analyze, assess, or interpret a historical event, era, or phenomenon, usually using these primary sources to do so. Now, primary sources give first-hand accounts that can help prove or disprove, add context, and support a narrative. However, primary resources sometimes are incomplete, unusable, or difficult to read. They also have a great chance to show bias and motives of the author. Now, secondary sources expand on material in the original sources. This supporting information can provide greater insight beyond the primary resource alone. However, the bias and experience of secondary sources authors will affect how information is presented. 2 different authors can interpret the same information in different ways. Now, my favorite and least favorite parts of my internship. My favorite part of my internship at the AAL was the 2 times I went to the BSU Archives and Special Collections, as well as meeting with Diane Hunter, the Historic Preservation Officer for the Miami Tribe of Oklahoma. Going to the BSU Archives and Special Collections is one of my favorite things to do because you get to look at and read old historical documents dating back to the early to mid-1800s. You are literally holding history in your hands. The meeting with Diane Hunter was my other favorite part of my internship. It was a very interesting and eye-opening experience to get to hear from someone directly connected to the project we are working on, because she is a direct descendant of the Miami people that fought hard to keep the reserves. It gave me more perspective on Native American experience during the 1800s and after. When growing up, I got a base level and narrative-driven knowledge on the topic in school. To learn what went on and what really happened with Native Americans dealt with changed my perspective. My least favorite part of the internship was sitting at a desk at my workstation most of the time. I can only sit and stare at a computer screen for so long doing work before I start to get antsy to go do something else for a bit, as I can get burnt out after a while. What I've learned from my internship. From this internship, I have learned a lot about professional work environments, writing, expectations, and myself as an employee. I gained significant insight into my own approach and attitudes towards work, time management, and organization. Additionally, I learned more about the ability to research through online digital resources that were most importantly in useful materials, then summarize and organize resources in a provided format. Specifically, the organization and planning for collaborating on shared resources played a large role and stand out the most from my internship. I believe it to be the most beneficial regarding my next step into my career because organization and working with others on shared documents may be a small part of a large project, but it is an important part that makes the rest of the project work. This internship helped me understand myself more as a person and as an employee. I've improved significantly as a person and employee as a result of this. I believe it will help me with any future personal and professional endeavors. And lastly, career goals and relevancy. After completing this internship, I am interested in working in a museum. One of the main reasons I took this internship, as I stated before, was to see the other side of things. I want to be a museum curator, but I feel like that I needed to see what other people in this field of public history do, and how they contribute to public history to fully understand the job and others in the field. My experience with the AAL was beneficial for this. I worked with people in the anthropology field and saw what they do on a daily basis. Additionally, I have made a lot of connections in this area of the field. I learned professional skills and learned a lot about myself as an employee, professional, and person that will help me with my future career endeavors. It was an honor and my pleasure to intern for the AAL during the 2022 spring semester. Thank you.